Welcome to deconstructing a photo. As you can see here, we're at the waterworks up in Tala, and I wanted to get the aerial view because I want you to understand, first of all, taking a photo looks easy, and it is usually, but for the photo that I'm about to show you now, the amount of work and thinking that has to go into it, the amount of working and thought that has to go into it. First of all, you can see that I can't shoot anything down here below because that's below the waterline. I'll get nothing much. And I can't shoot anything on water because, well, I'm not Jesus and I cannot walk on water. So I'm limited. I'm limited with the space where I'm walking on right now. I could go the other side, but it's a bit riskier, so that increases my risk of falling in. Knowing my luck, that would more than likely happen. I will forewarn you that this is going to be a long video, as you can see by the time code. Now, I'm limited to taking a photo from here all the way over to the other side, even further. Let me show you my distance that I have. As you can see now, I have a lot of space there, but it's kind of in a one dimension, straight forward, straight back. And with this, your options are limited. I also have a rock in front of me, so I'm not sure if you can see, but there's a wall right there as well. So hold on, let me get in a little bit closer. There is a wall. So now I'm limited with the height as well, so I have to be above this height of this wall to be able to take a shot. I shouldn't have worn dark clothes because you kind of can't see me from where you are. So let me get a little bit closer. So once you have where you can and cannot go, depending on where you're taking a photo, you might be restricted by not being allowed into that zone. There might be water, there might be a cliff, there might be people. So now you have to kind of make the best of what you have. But it's not just as simple as a straight line from here to there. You then have to go from here to there. So now you're going up and down. How high are you going to bring your lens? How low are you going to bring it? Are you going to go for a low angle shot? Are you going to go for a high angle shot? Then we even get into more details, where even if you have it straight on, you have your perfect eyesight, it's eye level, but now you decide to tilt your camera back and forth, depending on the lens, whether it's a wide angle lens or whether it's a telephoto lens, it's going to make a world of difference, and I'll show you now shortly. So next I'm going to show So next I'm going to show a lot of photos that I've taken all along this wall, all along the other wall. And these are going to be just set at the same height, with the same focal length of the camera, and they're going to be aiming at the bridge extending out into the lake. So with these now, you can kind of determine, okay, well, which one is the best factor? You know, this one here doesn't have enough information in it. It's too broad. It's too plain. This one here has too much. It's close to it. So this is all just to do with before you even take the picture. Before you even consider shutter speed, ISO and aperture, you have to consider taking the photo from a location. Are you going to use a tripod? Well, for me, yes, I will. And I knew that before I was going to come up here, for the one main reason. As you can see, the water bed behind us, there's a bit of a wind cast on it. So if I took the photo at a fast shutter speed, say 1/200th of a second, it's going to capture the little waves on the lake. But I want to smooth that out. I like smooth water. So I'm going to take a longer exposure, which will allow for the camera to kind of make it a milky smooth. I believe I made another video of this, so please check that out if you're interested in making long exposures. But for now, we just work on where to take the photo from. So many options. So the next thing we're going to talk about is lighting. So still nothing to do with the camera. This is all geolocations. These are actually things you can do on Google Maps or SunCal. So we're talking about light. This actually kind of falls into weather category, because on a rainy day it's going to be rainy, on a cloudy day like today it's going to be cloudy. But you'll probably see, no, you cannot see, hold on, let me just increase my shutter speed here. You can see the break in the clouds at the back, and that can protrude light to come in a fantastic way, especially during the sunrise or sunset. Now for this location here, the sun rises over this way and then comes up, and it's probably around this area here, so casting a light on this side of the building. As you can see from some of my photos, all those photos were taken with the exact same settings. I think it was f6.3, ISO 100 and 1/200th of a second. I didn't want to do long exposures because I'd be here all day. So as you can see, one side is brightly lit and then the other side is very dark. That's because the light is coming from this side. And my last photo there, I took it so you could see it was shot at 1/50th of a second, so to allow more light in, it brightens up the actual bridge, but as you can see, everything else is overexposed. So you have to understand where you're going to shoot, and then also where your light is coming from. So as we see now, we have it on a tripod. The reason for that is because I'm going to be aiming to do hopefully a long exposure. Now I didn't bring my filters today because I wasn't expecting the sun to actually show up, so I might have a bit of an issue with that. But right now we have the camera set up on the tripod, ready to go, and it's going directly straight for it. So I'm just going to use base shot settings just to kind of show you now. Right, 1/250th of a second, so that's 1/250 of a second. It's going to let in, so the shutter's going to open up, let the light in for 1/250th of a second, close it down, and then that's going to capture your image. So anything moving in that should be kind of captured, stopped. but for the moment that's straight on. Depends now if we angle it down. Or if we angle it up, we're going to get different compositions. I'm going to show you the focus there. So you're going to have different compositions. So even though we've discussed on this line here where we're going to aim for, and then the height line, now we kind of have to angle. Different angles kind of give different shots, as you can see from the last few shots. So for this one here, I'm going to go with the rule of thirds and center. So I'm going to focus on changing it now so that the image, the bridge here, starts it from the right hand side and then it extends out, and then there's like a little kind of pillar in the middle, and that's on the first third part, and then we have the main kind of function house which is now on the third, if that makes sense. So this is just the base shot. I still haven't gotten my settings perfect yet. So now we have the shot. As you can hear now, I'm taking a shot and it's clicking straight away. But I want to bring my shutter speed down a lot more. And in order to do that, by doing that, you can see the little motion that we have now on the camera. That's going to show up in the photo. So if I go down to, let's say, 1/8 of its shot, it's blown out because I'm still at f2.8 and ISO 100. So I'm going to have to bring the ISO down. I can on this camera. Some cameras won't go below 100. I'm going to bring the aperture up. So the ISO is down to 50 now, but it's still blown out. I think you can see that. It's actually blown out. I'll actually take the picture. So it's completely blown out, it's completely white. Now if I start bringing the aperture up, it's now going to make the photo more natural to our viewers. So if we're going to take this shot here now, it took it at 1/4 of a second. You'll probably notice two things. It's still a bit bright, but also with taking the shot straight away, my vibration here is going to make the image blurry. So some cameras have this functionality where you can set a timer on it, internal timer. Other cameras you can plug in this little I'll put the name down below, and then you can set on how long you want it. So with this one, I can go in and change it to 2 seconds, 5 seconds, or 10 seconds, depending on how much of a shake there is. So with this one, I'll probably go with 5 seconds, just to make sure it settles. So as soon as I press this button here, it's going to count down, and now all the vibration has stopped, and it takes the picture. So now you're going to notice those two pictures. I'm going to put them up side by side, and hopefully you notice the difference. Now, why do I want a lower shutter speed? It's hard to show here now, but on a windy day or on a day where the water's moving a bit faster, you can slow the shutter speed down, which drags it out, and anything moving in there kind of smooths out. So the blurry effect of an object you want standing still stays still, but then when it comes to water or car trails or anything you want to show movement in, this will allow to kind of blur that out in effect. So waterfalls, it's great. Water, it's great. Car trails, it's great. So that's the reason why I want a longer shutter speed. Now we come to the other option of, well, if you're sacrificing the shutter speed, well, you're not really sacrificing. If you're setting the shutter speed to that, you then have to up your aperture or your ISO. And it's good because with the higher aperture, say f8 to f16, you're allowing more details, you're allowing more depth of field that we've discussed in another video, that allows everything to be more sharp and in focus. But what if you don't want that? What if you want a shallow depth of field to create whatever image you want? Well, that's where filters come in. You can get a filter. Hold on. Don't show this part. Here is one of the filters that you can get. It allows you to adjust it so it gets darker, like sunglasses, so it lets less light in. I will be using this on this for a longer exposure now. So for this one, you just add it straight onto, I have to take this one off and add this on. It just screws in. Now, depending on the brand and make and model, some of them actually give this kind of a cross X effect. So a lot of people prefer the square. So you can have a square one. But with this, you can't just screw it in. You need to screw in an adapter and then put the adapter onto another adapter and then put the filter in. So it depends on how light you want to travel. This one comes in a little simple case. You screw it onto the lens, you adjust it, and then depending on the quality. Now I've been shooting with K&F and it's good quality. I'm not promoted by them. Look at how bad my channel is. So I'm not promoting this or anything. Do your own due diligence on searching for polarized filters. This one doesn't seem to do the cross-X effect, which is good. But with this one now, I'm at f2.8, which without this, I'll show you a before and after. So I'm going to take off, just being careful not to drop it. So 1/4 of a second, f2.8, ISO 50, white. Now we introduce sunglasses. Now remember, these photos aren't going to be perfect, and this is mainly for, you know, educational purposes. And now with this on, and then twist it all the way over, the exact same settings. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and click. Now we have the exact same photo settings, but a different photo altogether. So this allows you to let in more light. But I don't want f2.8. I want most of it to be sharp, crisp sharp. So I'm going to go all the way up to f9. Now I brought it up to f9. I have two options here now. With this, it's very dark, so I can adjust this to let more light in, or I can bring down my exposure. Sorry, I can bring down my shutter speed even further. There, 1.5, 1.6 seconds. Actually, hold on, I want to get a little bit longer. This is going to be my shot that I want to show at the start. So f16, still dark, 4 seconds, ISO 50. So now we have the weight of the delay, we have the shutter speed, 4 seconds, so it's going to take 4 seconds to take the shot, 4 seconds to produce the image. And f16, you don't want to go further than f16, it causes diffraction. That's a different story. And then we have this image now where if you look at it, you can see that the water smoothed out a bit more. So I'm going to wait until it gets a bit darker. Hopefully the clouds will come over and just give us that little bit extra, and I'll be able to do a little bit longer. So now I'm just going for that little bit more of a reach. I'll put up so we have gone over location, the y-axis, let's call it, the x-axis, and then the c-axis, the tilt. And now that we have the composition that we wanted, we went over the settings. So we discussed kind of the filter, whether you have them, whether you want them, whether you use them or not. if you want to do a long exposure, if you want more depth of field, and then the ISO. The ISO, well, we haven't gone into much detail. Always just keep that as low as you can. There are certain exceptions to this rule where if you need to get the shot, you have to bump up the ISO to get the shot. So that's it. So that's taking the photo. Like, that's deconstructing this photo from the very start. You know, not just showing up and going, oh, that looks nice, take a picture, here's my settings. It's everything to do with it. Where along the line did I want to take the photo from? Now, we're going to talk about megapixels. So I'm going to use my camera that I'm recording, the Sony A7III now, because this is a 62 megapixel camera, and well, to be honest, that could show a lot more detail. So I'm going to take the exact same settings, the exact same filter, the exact same lens, and put it on the Sony A7III, and then I'm going to record on the A7R4 the video. So the video might change, and the photo might be just slightly different, but if you just wait there for 2.3 seconds, we'll be back. But for me, it's going to be a few minutes. Okay, we're back. So you might notice a few different things. Number one, it's a lot brighter now. The sun's after coming out. I've been working under shades the whole time, so the image won't be exactly the same, but the same lens, different camera, and roughly the same angle, because I can't get the exact same because I have to move everything around. I'm a little buggered on that, but the exact same settings on a 24 megapixel camera. You'll see now that this is the shot. Roughly the exact same. You can't notice much of a difference, especially on the video screen that you're watching now. If you zoom in side by side, yes, you would notice them, but we're not doing that. If you blew them up into the size of a billboard, yes, you would notice the difference. And I'm gonna have to try do a crop in to give you this lower megapixels, the 8 to 16 I mentioned earlier on, but in order to do that, if I'm gonna crop in, I'm gonna have to step back. Okay, so I didn't want to overexpose the photo. Now the sun is out, I had to up my f-stop a bit more, but it's the same image roughly, because I have to step back and there's a wall in the way that could be in the photo as well. Basically, that's the deconstruction of a photo. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's been thorough. It's gone over everything I can possibly think of with doing a photo. There's things I can't predict here as well, like there's weather. You know, what if it was snowy? What if it was rainy? What if it was overcast? What if it was blue skies? They all contribute to a different photo. Then it's different times of the year. This exact moment, hold on, exactly moment, it is now March 20th, 9:37 AM. But in August 20th, 9:37 AM, that sun will be in a totally different location. So you got to take these factors into consideration. Things move, things change, even if it's like a tree falling over. So the tree that was there last week mightn't be there next week. So I hope this deconstruction has been very insightful to you. I can do more of these, but I'd like to know, because this took a lot of effort, and it took a lot of time to not just record and edit, but also time of my day as well. So if you are interested in these, please like it, comment that you want to see more of these. I'd like to do more of these in different locations, and get into the inside thoughts of where you should start from. And like, even like, there's no harm in taking the wrong photo and going, I don't like this angle, I'll move it, you know. I've taken what, 20-30 photos today of different locations just to show you what it looks like. If you're after the photo, it doesn't matter if you take the wrong photo. You don't have to show it, you know. You learn from that. You go, okay, well, let me just use my eyes first, and yes, okay, this will work better. So if you do, subscribe, like, comment, do all that. It will help the channel out a lot, it will help me out a lot, and then once the lockdown is done, I can finally get out and go to other locations.